Number 1. The Nile Crocodile. You are older than memory, not yours. Everyone's. You have been here since before humans had words for fear, and somehow you became the thing those words were invented for. You hatch in a nest of rotting vegetation on a muddy bank, one of 50 siblings. And your mother carries you to the water in her jaws, the same jaws that will later end a wildebeest, with a gentleness that would surprise anyone watching. The water receives you. This is your world now. This is the only world that matters. You grow slowly. Everything about you is patient. You learn that stillness is not laziness, it is strategy. You learn that the surface of the water is a kind of lie you can tell with your entire body. You float. You wait. Your eyes sit at the top of your skull like two dark stones, and you watch the bank. You watch it for hours. You watch it for days. You are not bored. Boredom requires imagination, and you have traded imagination for something better: precision. The dry season comes, and the animals cluster at the water's edge because they have no choice. Zebra, antelope, buffalo. They know you are there. They drink anyway because thirst is louder than fear. You understand this. You have always understood this. You explode from the water with a force that shouldn't be possible for something your size. And your size is now considerable: 4 meters of armored muscle moving at a speed the bank never saw coming. The bite registers somewhere around 5,000 pounds per square inch. The animal doesn't process what happened. Neither, in some ways, do you. It was simply the next thing. Humans come to the water too. Fishermen, children, people crossing at shallow points they have crossed before. You do not distinguish. You do not hold a grudge, and you do not hold a preference. You are the oldest ambush predator on the planet, and you treat every warm body at the water's edge with the same ancient, indifferent attention. Hundreds of people a year, more than any other crocodilian, more than most things alive. You don't count. You just wait, and the water keeps bringing them to you. And you keep being exactly what you have always been. You live for 70 years, maybe more. The river changes around you. The animals change. The humans change. Their boats, their noise, their lights at night. You do not change. You were finished a long time ago, perfected in a draft so early that nothing since has required revision. When you finally stop, somewhere in the deep mud of a slow bend in the river, it is not dramatic. You simply become still in a way that is different from the stillness you practiced your whole life. The river moves past you. It has somewhere to be. Number 2, the hippopotamus. You're not what they think you are. This is the first and most important fact of your life. They see the bulk, the barrel shape, the slow graze along the bank at dusk, and they think large, slow, harmless. They think you are comic. They have put your image on children's toys. They have given you a friendly name. You find none of this relevant. You are born in the shallows, underwater, and you swim before you walk. Your mother is enormous, and she is protective in a way that should warn anyone watching what the stakes are here. You nurse underwater. While you learn the rhythms of the pod, the dominant male, the hierarchies, the territorial calls that roll across the water at night like something geological. You learn very early that your world has edges and that those edges are defended. You are not a predator. This is technically true and also somewhat misleading. You do not hunt. You graze on grass in the dark hours, moving inland with a surprising quiet for something that weighs 2,000 kilograms. But the river is yours, the stretch of bank is yours, the path between water and grazing ground is yours. And when something enters that space, another hippo, a crocodile, a boat, a person who didn't understand the geography of your patience, you respond with everything you have. Your canine teeth are 0.5 meter long, your jaw opens to 150 degrees. You can run at 30 kilometers per hour over short ground, and you will use every bit of that speed without warning and without negotiation. Fishermen learn this. Tourists learn this. People who wade into the wrong stretch of river learn this once, briefly, and not again. You kill more people in Africa than almost anything else, not from hunger, not from cruelty, from the simple, total conviction that your space is your space and that you will defend it to the absolute end of your considerable ability. You live 30 to 40 years. You spend most of them in the water, eyes and nostrils at the surface, secreting a natural sunscreen that turns your skin a faint reddish pink in the light. You are, in the right moment, genuinely beautiful, massive and pink tinged in the afternoon sun, half submerged, completely sovereign. Well, you never needed anyone to understand you. You only needed them to stay out of the water. Number 3, the great white shark. You begin as one of a small litter, born live and already fully formed, already a predator, already alone. Your mother offers nothing after birth. No guidance, no territory, no lesson. You don't need it. You were assembled by 400 million years of iteration, and you arrive in the ocean complete. You swim. You find food. You survive. You grow up in the open ocean, eating fish, rays, smaller sharks. You are learning the water the way a language is learned. Not by studying it, but by living inside it constantly, until it becomes the medium of all thought. You feel pressure changes through your lateral line. You detect electrical fields through your ampullae of Lorenzini. You smell blood at 1 part per million across a quarter-mile of open water. You are a sensory instrument of extraordinary sensitivity, wrapped in a body built for one purpose. And that purpose is expressed cleanly and without apology every time you feed. You grow large, 5 meters, perhaps 6. The ocean begins to feel like yours in a way it didn't when you were small. You develop patterns, seasonal migrations that span entire ocean basins, return routes to specific feeding grounds, a familiarity with coastlines that suggests something closer to memory than instinct. You are not simple. You have never been simple. The simple version of you was invented by people who needed you to be a monster rather than an animal. The seals come to rocky islands in aggregations, and you learn the geometry of the hunt, the approach from below, the speed through the last 20 meters, the breach that takes you entirely out of the water in a moment of physics so extreme it looks impossible for something your size. You don't always succeed. You fail often. Hunting is hard, and seals are fast, and the ocean is indifferent to your hunger. But when it works completely, and you sink back into the dark water with everything you need. Humans enter your world sometimes. Surfers on boards whose silhouette from below resembles a seal with unsettling accuracy. Divers. Swimmers at dusk when the light makes everything ambiguous. You investigate. This is what you do. You are curious, and your curiosity is expressed with your mouth, because your mouth is your primary instrument of investigation. Most of the time, you release. The encounter ends with confusion on both sides. Occasionally, it doesn't end that way, and the headlines write themselves in the particular language humans use when the ocean reminds them it belongs to something else. You live for 70 years, maybe longer. You are difficult to study, difficult to track, difficult to hold in any frame long enough to fully understand. You cross oceans alone. You return to places you haven't been in decades. You carry the whole cold history of the sea inside you. And you ask nothing from it except to keep moving, keep feeding, keep being exactly what you are. The ocean does not mourn you when you are gone. It simply continues the way it always has, older than you and older than everything. Number 4, the polar bear. You are born in a den your mother dug into a snowdrift in November. You are blind. You weigh less than a kilogram. And the world outside is 50 degrees below zero. None of this is a problem yet because you are here, and she is here, and she is everything. You nurse for months in the dark and the warmth of her body while the Arctic winter does what the Arctic winter does to everything outside. You emerge in spring into a whiteness so total it has no edges. You are the largest land predator on Earth, and you know it from the beginning in the way that apex animals know things. Not as a thought, but as a posture, a way of moving through space that doesn't include the concept of retreat. Your world is sea ice, open water, and the seals that live at the boundary between them. You learn to hunt by watching your mother, and the lesson is patience again. Always patience, in every predator's education. You wait at a seal's breathing hole for hours, Well, motionless in the wind until the seal surfaces and the moment arrives and your paw comes down with a speed and force that ends things immediately. You are solitary. This is not loneliness, it is the arithmetic of your ecosystem. The Arctic cannot support social predators at your size. You cover enormous ranges, hundreds of kilometers of sea ice, following the seals, following the fish, following the cold. You swim between ice floes for hours, your body fat keeping you warm in water that would kill a human in minutes. You are built for this place, with the same completeness that the Nile crocodile is built for its river. You fit here perfectly. Humans enter your range sometimes. Researchers, explorers, people who travel to the edge of the world for reasons you don't parse. You are curious about them. You are curious about most things. Polar bears are more investigative than people expect, more willing to approach the unfamiliar. This curiosity is not friendly. It is the same curiosity you apply to a seal carcass or a strange smell on the ice. You are assessing whether it is food. In the high Arctic, far from human settlements, the assessment sometimes concludes that it is. You are not villainized for this in the way other predators are. There is something about your circumstances, the shrinking ice, the thinning prey, the long swims between floes that are getting longer every decade, that earns you a different kind of attention from the humans who study you. They feel something about you that they don't feel about the crocodile or the shark. You don't know this. You are on the ice, waiting at a breathing hole, are doing the only thing you know how to do in the only place you have ever been. Number 5, the mosquito. You are 4 millimeters long, you weigh 2 milligrams, you live for 2 weeks. By every measurable standard of physical presence, you are nothing. A flicker, a whine in the dark, a small unpleasant fact that a human resolves by slapping the back of their own neck. You are the easiest thing in the world to kill. You are also the deadliest animal that has ever existed. Let that sit for a moment. Not the great white shark, not the Nile crocodile, not the polar bear, with its mass and its patience and its ancient cold authority. You, the thing that weighs less than a raindrop, the thing with the wings that make that sound. You have killed more human beings than every war in recorded history combined. You have ended civilizations. You have turned the outcome of battles, emptied cities, collapsed empires. You are the reason entire regions of the earth were effectively uninhabitable for most of human history. You did all of this without a plan, without malice, without any awareness of the catastrophe you carry. You were just thirsty. You hatch from a still pool of water, a pond, a puddle, a bottle cap left in the rain. You spend your larval stage at the surface, breathing through a snorkel-like tube, eating microorganisms completely vulnerable to anything that notices you. You are a mosquito before you are a mosquito, soft and aquatic, and nothing like what you will become. Then you pupate, then you emerge. You are male or female, and this distinction matters enormously. If you are male, you eat nectar. You pollinate flowers. Well, you live quietly and briefly, and you harm nothing and no one, and you die without incident. This version of you does not make the news. If you are female, you need blood, not for your own survival, for your eggs. The protein in blood is what your eggs require, and so you find a host, and you land, and you insert a proboscis so fine it is practically undetectable, and you drink. While you drink, you introduce saliva to prevent the blood from clotting. And in that saliva, depending on where you hatched and what you fed on before this moment, there may be passengers. Plasmodium falciparum, the parasite that causes malaria, the dengue virus, yellow fever, Zika, West Nile. You are not sick, you are a vehicle, a flying syringe moving between hosts with no awareness of the cargo you carry, and no understanding of what you leave behind in each body you visit. The human you are feeding on right now does not feel you land. They will feel the itch later. That is their immune system responding to your saliva, not to you. By then you are gone. You are already over the water, already dropping eggs onto the still surface, already completing the only task your brief life was organized around. You will be dead in days. The disease you carried will take weeks to incubate, months to spread, years to move across a continent. The mismatch between your scale and your consequence is so extreme it is almost difficult to hold in the mind at once. 4 millimeters, 2 milligrams, 2 weeks. More human deaths than any predator, any disaster, any weapon ever devised. The crocodile waits in the river, the hippo guards the shallows. The shark circles in the dark water below, the polar bear stands on the ice at the end of the world, and you land on the back of someone's hand in the blue hour of a summer evening, quiet as a thought, smaller than a word, carrying the weight of more human history than any of them will ever touch. They don't even feel you arrive.